Evening, YouTube. This is Tire Metalhead Weatherman. Hopefully, you guys have had a good Thursday. Almost towards the end of the week. We have a few new developments in the tropics. Nothing too crazy at the moment, but figure we'd talk about that. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging on that. So, before I get into all of that, if you guys like what I've been doing lately, please share the channel to your friends. We cover stuff like this all the time on here. We'll be doing a lot more interesting stuff very soon as we head into November and December. I'm not going to tell you exactly what some of the new stuff is, but you'll see soon enough, and whenever it does come out, I hope you enjoy. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into the tropics here. Okay, so here's what we have going on right now, and this is on satellite. This is Tropical Depression 12, and I'm pretty sure this looks like the final advisory with 12. Not entirely sure, but we can already look at the satellite and tell that it doesn't look good at all. It's getting sheared apart. In fact, let me see if I can go back and have a look at it. Well, it's not the final advisory just yet, but it's expected to become a remnant low or dissipate by tonight. And then we now have potential tropical cyclone 13, originally designated as originally it was a tropical wave, but they've promoted it now because it's showing winds of 35 miles an hour. If we look at the satellite once again, you can see it's a little bit better organized. Still a relatively disorganized area, but it will be gaining a little bit of momentum once it starts to clear the ABC Islands and starts to go over water once again entirely. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at 13 here. We'll look at the cone here and try to get a look at some of the warnings and watches that might be ahead. Towards the northern islands of South America here, we do have some tropical storm watches. The storm is expected to make hurricane status, and there are some hurricane watches now in effect. I'm not sure what the name of these islands are, so I'm not going to go ahead and get into that just yet. I may follow up tomorrow on that if you guys want me to, and I'll kind of get more in depth with that. But this is expected to become a hurricane, and it is expected to impact areas like Nicaragua, Honduras, and El Salvador before losing strength and becoming a tropical storm over land, and then eventually, well, this has a slight chance of maybe re-emerging out in the Atlantic. It's hard to say what this will do over this region there. I remember a few models a while back were kind of giving it a shot at going back over the Yucatan, but it doesn't look like it's going to make that turn too quickly. In fact, I don't have cyclocane up. I could quickly take a look at that if you guys would like. Oh, gosh. Okay, I got it. I thought I had missed it, actually. Oh, yeah, I did miss it. I thought I didn't. Or I thought I did. I don't know anymore. But, alright, here we go. PTC 13. Expect to become a Cat 1. A mid-grade Cat 1 at that. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the spaghetti models. And as far as I know as of right now, I see no threat to the US here, so you want to skip to the last part of this video where we kind of look at what's out ahead, feel free to go ahead. I won't be upset with you. Promise. But for the most part, this storm isn't really expected to make anything beyond Cat 1. There's a couple of little strands here that have it running to Cat 2 briefly, but it's not long-lived. But if we look at all the tracks here, there's a good bit of agreement here, and there's nothing really taking it back out into the Gulf here, which is great news for the U.S. Unfortunately for this region of Mexico here, though, you're going to be dealing with a relatively strong hurricane, a category 1, and some flooding rain. Take one more look at the forward movement speed. Right now it's at 17 miles an hour. So it doesn't look like it's going to linger. That's one good thing for you guys over there. We'll try and, if we get about maybe 5 likes, I'll cover this storm. or if I get a comment from somebody that's in this area or thinking about heading there, I'll go ahead and cover this as intently as I can. But from there, we'll just go ahead and take a look and see what else may lie ahead here for this region, because this is a very critical area. If there's going to be any sort of major impacts to land, it's going to be storms that form right about the edge of this this area right here. That's the Western Atlantic. Oops, wrong button. All right, so here's PTC 13, most likely going to become Julia. Could do so by late tomorrow afternoon, maybe even Saturday. Could even do it tonight. I won't rule it out. But for the most part, Euro isn't really showing anything crazy going on. Looks like things are going to be pretty quiet for the next few weeks over the Caribbean. Great news for us and pretty much everyone over this area, because after Fiona and Ian, a lot of damage got done, and the more time there is to repair a lot of that damage or just get it out of there, it's great news for all of us. Go ahead and take a look at the GFS. Usually the GFS ensemble has a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more theatrics going on with it, if you know what I mean, but it's 18Z. It's just now starting to load, so we'll have to run back to 12. Okay. So here we are. We're past the point where PTC 13, aka or potentially known to be Julia, or most likely to be Julia, makes its mark on Mexico and then moves out, and then okay, wow. I think I have my arrow too close to the corner here. But beyond that, really nothing going on here. GFS, hold on a minute. GFS has a little something that pops up here. Don't know if this ends up becoming something tropical or not. A lot of that's going to be hearsay, and it's pretty far out. It's about 264 hours out. We'll keep an eye on this throughout the weekend. And if this kind of holds, then I'll talk about that a little bit more. Actually, the GFS is a little bit insistent on a little something popping up here, but it's moving in an odd direction, which I find interesting. But definitely something to keep an eye on there, albeit, like I said, 200 plus hours out. Not really leaving me a lot in the way of optimism here. And then on top of that, the Euro isn't even on board with it. But the ensembles can be crazy when you look far out, look pretty far out, so it isn't the most surprising thing in the world. I'll go ahead and look at the rest of the Atlantic basin here. Steering current is still intact. It's going to keep a lot of these main development region systems kind of hanging out to sea for the most part for right now. But once we get about 200 hours out, I do see a little bit of a change here as far as the steering current right now, which could lead to some interesting developments. But these storms are more than likely going to stall out. They're not really going to pose any real threats to land here. So a little something to watch in the future, but we'll take that with a grain of salt. But that's pretty much the end of this video. If you like what I did in this video or any of the other videos, definitely like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, of course. Trying to get to 100 subs by the end of the year. Definitely think it's possible. Hopefully we don't need any big storms to do that. I really would prefer that not to be the case. But that being said, some cool stuff coming up for you guys soon. You'll see soon enough. But in the meantime, that's the end of the video. This has been Tire Metalhead Weatherman. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the weekend forecast.